when you did that work, it was on the Scotch thistle.
Uh-huh.
Did you use a contact product to help take that thistle down and add rejuvenant to that?
I did. Great question, Bill. Thanks for bringing it up. So we had in Milestone, we had 7 ounces of Milestone and Rejuver when we went after that. Because you're right, those thistles can be a biennial or triennial, and so Rejuver is not going to do anything to that plant till it tries to come back from seed. And so adding that post-emergence product with the Rejuver does a good job of speeding up the control process of that plant and keeping it from adding more seed to the seed. So I'm going to roll through this. This is a Great Shoes, our new digital platform that we're coming out with. And as I go through it, I'll explain kind of all the different advantages of it. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to be able to bring okay. My voice doesn't carry that well.
I'm sure it does, but we want to get it to the back of the room.
All right. Yeah. So what we wanted to do is bring a digital platform to help us with these products in the range of pasture space. The range of pasture spaces, we all have a very intimate knowledge of it. We all really understand our ranches really well. But there's a huge difference in topography. There's a huge difference in grass and perennial species types, and so it makes it really hard to have the most even and best outcome across all of the acres that you're going to apply on. So that's why we want to come with RainView. So what is RainView? Our current platform, we combine satellite imagery along with it's kind of a 12-band decision making model where we look at 8 bands of different satellite energy from near infrared, NPVI, TSVI, and different indexes that show us soil, how much soil is on the ground, plant health, plant type, plant growth. But then we also look at it from distance to water, soil type, aspect, to where we give all of this decision making model, all these different indicators that can help it select the species that we're looking for. Well, how does it work? We use the Planetscope SuperDove data satellites. So what that is that's a 3-meter pixel. So what it's going to look at it when it looks at the ground, it's looking at a pixel about three meters square. And then we pull out those 8 bands that I talked about, plus those other things, to start checking the box on what is the species we're looking for. We also, when we take a look and we start to determine what the polygon of the particular species we're looking for, then we look back 3 years as a validation, as a machine learning, to see did it look the same the year before, did it look the same the year before that, because we all know in the moisture and environment changes how a plant expresses itself from year to year. So if we look over a series of years and get that average, we're a lot more accurate. Well, the other thing is a lot of times when we're pulling imagery, we can have haze, we can have clouds, we can always have just a picture perfect day. So that's why looking back for 3 years allows us to get the cleanest image. So right now the model runs that we currently have is we have cheatgrass, ventonata, Banusahan, we've been using those. Right now, ventonata, let's say ventonata in North Dakota, we don't have a lot of training data yet. We got some training data last year. Bill helped us with that. So we're still perfecting that algorithm. But we're still in that 90% accuracy rate to find it. On broadleaf weeds, we have the leaf and spurge algorithm, and I'm going to show some outcomes of that here in a minute. And then on trees and brush, we have the mesquite weed satch algorithm, and now we can do tree inventories on like juniper and cedars. So many of you may have heard of RAP. It's called the Rangeland Analysis Program. RAP is a great tool, but RAP is a very broad scale tool. To give you an idea, we're looking at a 3-meter pixel. They're looking at a 15-meter pixel. And so they just don't zero in tight enough and clean enough to be able to give you that per species indication or to be able to create a treatment map because of this different resolution. Great tool, great way to look in a regional standpoint. When we start to do operational treatments, we need that tighter pixels. So this is just a RAP comparison to show. So here it shows that if you were to look at that area, you would think there was a lot of annual grasses there, that area was really needing a lot of treatment or a lot of help. But when we actually look at it in range view, that area is actually quite healthy. What's tricking RAP is that could be an annual a native annual species or it could be an annual form that it's picking up. Or when we look per species, we see that that area is actually really healthy. So this is an example of the leafy spurge algorithm we run, and this is, we're just getting started on this. But as you can see here, the darker the red is the heavier infestation of leafy spurge. And then as it gets lighter, there's less and less plants, but we're still picking it up. And then as we get to this stage, we didn't pick up any plants. But what Craig has shown here is this is that line showing that the leafy spurge got heavier going as it went up, and this has less. This is the actual picture of that area. And you can see this area that shows very little spurge. That's clean, and then where the spurge is really heavy, that's this area. So that's the kind of indication we can give you. And this can be used in multiple ways. It can be used as a scouting tool to find it, but it also can be used as a planning tool to determine how many acres do I have, where do I risk and where should I start? Do the core thing that Jared brought up earlier, and we want to see these areas from transitioning. This map tells us maybe we want to start here and stop the spread and then start working back that way. That's what we want to give you, is to just be more informed in this decision making opportunity to make the best use of your time. So this is just an example of an algorithm run that we did where it shows, now here's where I'm at and what should be my choice operationally. Do I want to come in? Do I want to try and save this area, or is this area far enough along that it's going to have to be treated in a different way? Do I want to come in and decide to want to stop this area from transitioning? Again, it gives you that map, it gives you that global kind of representation or understanding of where you should go next. And then you can come in, you can draw polygons, you can draw treatment areas. Once you do that, as you're drawing them, and show you how many acres is in the polygon. As you increase or decrease the size of the polygon, it increases or decreases the acre. But once you have that treatment area drawn and determined, then you can export that map. You can export that to your applicator. They can load it into their guidance system and allow them guide where they want to be. It really gets you and your applicator, or it gets the customer and you all on the same page where you want to treat and what you want to accomplish. Then once that treatment is made, that applicator can send you their treatment file, their as applied file. You can download that, and that's now in the program that you can reference back to. It'll give you the day that it was treated and gives you all of the treatment parameters that went into it. So now you can start thinking about, how am I going to treat this area? How am I going to, from a landscape scale, start to affect change? So this is a new one we just come out with this year that I think could be really valuable, and that's our new tree height and tree type inventories. So what we can go out and do is we can show you the different heights of trees within 10% of the height of that tree, and then we can create you that same heat map of, here's trees that are mature and producing seed. Here are trees that are not producing seed yet; they're at this size. Here are areas where the trees are just starting to emerge, and then have that same mindset of stopping the spread and then go back and work on areas that are already infested. So what we can do with any of these is you can start producing these reports where it tells you how many trees are out there, how many acres of those trees are out there, and then you can start to build yourself, when you start to either build a cost share program or a treatment bid, or just trying to figure out a budget on when to treat, you can really start to zero in on the numbers, because it starts to tell you, here are such and such trees at this height, here are the mid-sized trees, here are the emerging trees, here are known trees, and you can really start to be more informed and start to make the tree. And I don't know how I'm doing on time, Bill. I might be getting close. I still got a little bit. So I can walk through this a little bit on the range view demo. So what you do, to get a RangeView account is free. You just go to rangeview.us and you just sign it. You just set up an account, very simple form fills. Go and put in your name, the information you need to do, and then you have an account. And then you can start drawing polygons and you can starting to analyze your range. So, or the land that you're going to treat. Depending on the species you're wanting to look for, there is no charge to get into RangeView until you start asking for an algorithm run. So let's say you want to look for leafy spurge, and you draw an area like Craig did here. then on a leafy spurge algorithm, under, I think it's under 10,000 acres total for the project, it's $3 an acre to run that algorithm run. But then with that algorithm run, you have all, you can take a look next year, you can take a look at the current years, you have the ability to manage and assess what's going on in those acres. On any grasses, it's less than that for an algorithm run. On the tree height one, it's about $1.15 acre for the tree height. So there is a cost when we start doing algorithm runs, but you can get in and start doing pre-planning before you have to pay. And this just shows you would pick the species you want to analyze for, you click analyze, and draw the area you want to analyze, and then you can start to get the map. And this is what in 5 to 7 days, this is what you would get sent back. You get an email saying your analysis here. You go into your client account, click on that pasture, and then you would get your map and you'd start to be able to work. What you can do is there's kind of an opacity or transparency above it to show you the affected area. You can turn that up and down so you can see through it, because a lot of times you want to be able to see the outcome to determine what it is you're going to treat. You want to be able to see through that transparency, say, I really want to, there's still enough perennials here that if I get in and treat this, I really want to create a polygon right here for this year and treat that. This is hanging out, this is doing all right, this has time, I want to start treating that. Again, it gives you that ability to make that decision to make you more informed. And then this is just walking through what I talked about earlier. This is what we sent to the applicator. The applicator made the application. This is what he sent back, and then we uploaded it showing where we treated those. Process. All this, I should talk about this. This is the Rangeview Restoration Pledge. So with Rejuvra on Ventonata and cheatgrass, if you use Rangeview to coordinate and do the treatment with the applicator, and we have the ability to look at the file and whatnot, we offer a 4-year guarantee on that product. So if we have any escapes or if we have poor performance within the first 4 years after treatment, Envu will provide the herbicide and pay for the application under that Rangeview restoration. I'm getting near the end of my time, and I want to leave some questions. I appreciate the kind of the bumpy start we got dealing with the computer and whatnot, but is there any questions I can answer either on Rangeview or on Rangeview?
Justin,
Yes.
you have a way to recoup some of those algorithm costs. Can you explain that, please?
Good point. So thank you, Bill. I'm glad you helped me with this presentation. It's been helpful. So as Bill said, that on that 4-year, if you do an algorithm run and you treat with Rejuvra, we will rebate you 100% the cost of that algorithm run. So if you paid, let's say, $3 an acre for that run, you treat through the Rangeview program, we will send you a check back for the money you spent on it.
Is that on the treated acres or all the acres?
Treated acres, a good point. So let's say if you draw a 1,000-acre polygon, and that indicated you that you really only needed to treat 750, which just saved you the application cost of 250 acres. We would only rebate you on the 750 you treated, not on the full 1,000 that you submitted. Yes, sir.
At the rhythm, is there so many plants per square yard that for stuff?
No, within that 3-meter pixel, it's with the reflectance and the signature that it gets back, it can detect any foliage within that pixel.
What's the cost per acre?
So to treat with Rejuvra, the herbicide at a 5-ounce rate is going to cost 45 bucks an acre. But again, if we amortize that out after 4 years, that's about $11, $12 an acre for great spend. Application costs are going to vary whether it's a helicopter. But if you see what Ventonata can do to your land, you can lose 45 bucks an acre pretty quick. You really can. More like the guys in eastern Montana and eastern Wyoming, which have got cheatgrass. We see about a 2.5 to 3.5 times increase in forage. quantity and quality when we remove those annual grasses. And it's pretty hard to buy land for $45 to $60 an acre. Okay. Well, thanks everyone. We have our booth out there. If you come up with questions or have anything else, please look us up. But thanks, Bill, for the opportunity.
It's not a gun conspiracy. Yeah. Here, I did a search. Basically started about Fall River in South Dakota, all the way up to the Western Guns.
Thank you, Justin, Jared. Very interesting information.
We have to do something right there.
Johnstone.
Of course.
Local Russian. Okay.